Good afternoon and welcome to the Rundown. I'm your host, Captivating Christian, and here are some of your top stories for today, October the 20th. Texas social workers can now turn away LGBTQ and disabled clients. A state regulatory board has removed the discrimination protection following a recommendation from Governor Greg Abbott. And federal judge halts Trump's proposed food stamp cutback for more than 700,000 Americans. In her ruling on Sunday, she wrote that the department which administers the food stamp program had been icily silent about the number of people it would affect. And Michigan issues a ban on open carry at polling locations. And black DEA recruits accuse instructor of calling them monkeys. One instructor was accused of taunting black trainees by making monkey noises. Tucson's mayor calling out Trump over $80,000 rally debt before the new Superspreader event. Regina Romero also called the self-proclaimed law and order candidate to follow the Arizona City mandatory mask and social distancing requirements. A ballot box fire in California is being investigated as arson. Tampering with vote by mail or ballot boxes is a serious criminal offense, and we will vigorously seek the prosecution of individuals who engage in such behavior. Let's get to the news. Texas social workers can now turn away LGBTQ clients and those with disabilities. The State Board of Social Work Examiners voted unanimously to change a section in its code of conduct last week, following a recommendation from Greg Abbott, which is the Republican governor, to remove protections for sexual orientation, gender identity, and disability. Abbott's office said that the change was suggested because the board's non-discrimination clause went beyond the state's policy on social work, according to the Associated Press. Officials of the State Board of Social Work Examiners are now facing backlash for the decision, and some advocacies and professional organizations saying that it would put already vulnerable disabled and LGBTQ people at greater risk. After the policy change became public, 7 advocacy groups released a joint statement condemning the move. The Social Workers Code of Conduct previously helped ensure ethical treatment of all clients and preventative bias motives and misconduct. The CEO of the statewide LGBT group, Equality Texas, said in a statement, "Now with the removal of sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression from the code, LGBTQ folks who experience discrimination could face more obstacles to getting the help they need." Transgender right groups spoke to how the policy could affect trans individuals' health and safety during the pandemic. A federal judge struck down a Trump administration rule that would have reduced food stamp benefits for nearly 700,000 people. In her Sunday ruling, the U.S. District Court Judge Beryl Howell, wrote that implementing the change radically and abruptly alters decades of regulatory practice, leaving states scrambling to increase food security for tens of thousands of Americans. In December, the Department of Agriculture formalized a proposal for work requirements for recipients of food stamps, formerly known as the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, that would have disqualified an estimated 688,000 people from food benefits. In her ruling on Sunday, Howell wrote that the department, which administers the food stamp program, had been icily silent about the number of people who would be affected by its proposed reduction in benefits, adding that one estimate from May 2020 found that SNAP's roster has grown by over 17%, with over 6 million new enrollees. Since the COVID-19 pandemic broke out back in March, food pantries across the country have been hamstrung by the consumers running on grocery stores. According to a recent study by the Columbia University researchers, more than 8 million Americans have slipped into poverty since May. Since an alarming large number of white people have clearly lost the ability to act right, Michigan's Secretary of State has announced that people will not be able to openly carry guns at polling stations. NBC News reported on Friday that the Secretary of State said that openly carried guns will not be allowed at polling places, in any hallway used by voters to enter or exit, or within 100 feet of any entrance to a building in which a polling place is located. She added that concealed carry guns will not be allowed in any building that it already forbids them. The presence of firearms at polling places, clerks' offices, and absentee voter counting boards may cause disruption, fear, or intimidation for voters, election workers, and others present. If people just absolutely need to keep that thing on them, they'll be allowed to leave their guns in their cars, provided it is parked 100 feet away from the polling station. There are growing concerns within the state that there will be violence on Election Day, considering that 14 men were recently arrested for plotting to kidnap the Michigan governor. At a Drug Enforcement Administration training academy in Virginia last year, the instructor of the firing range called out the name that was shared by two trainees, one white and one black. When both responded, the white instructor clarified, "I meant the monkey." That behavior, as alleged in an internal complaint, did not stop there. The instructor also accused of going on to the loudspeaker in the tower of the outdoor shooting range to taunt black trainees by making monkey noises. As the DEA continues a decade-long struggle to diversify its ranks, it has received a string of recent complaints describing a culture of racial discrimination at its training academy in which minorities are singled out, derided with insults, and constantly held at higher standards than their white counterparts. According to interviewers with the former recruiters and law enforcement officials and records obtained by the Associated Press, In one case, a black recruit was told that his skin color made him a surefire candidate for undercover work. In another, a Hispanic woman chatting in Spanish with a fellow trainee was admonished to speak English. You are in the United States. At least 2 of the complaints prompted an internal DEA investigation, one of which remains ongoing. The complaints, which are not typically made public, often a rare window into the frustration minorities have voiced about their treatment at the DEA since the filings of a 1977 civil rights lawsuit that remains unresolved despite a series of court orders governing the agency's hiring policy and promoting practices. Last year, a federal judge ruled that the DEA had run afoul, including the FBI. The DEA has struggled to fill its ranks with minorities. Of the agency's 4,400 special agents, just 8% are black and 10% are Hispanic. Hey, this is Captivating Christian here to remind you to tune in to Politics and Wellness every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Politics and Wellness every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. And be sure to join Jay Wilson, Rebel Son, The Official Campaign, Conscious TV, and Captivating Christian this and every Thursday at 6:45 Central Standard Time, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time for the Gentleman's Panel, where we are not afraid to go there and discuss an array of topics. See you there. The mayor of Tucson, Arizona, fired off a letter to President Donald Trump pointing out that his campaign still owes her city $80,000 for his last rally 4 years ago, even as he heads to his next potential Superspreader event there on Monday. Democrat Regina Romero, the first Latina to become mayor of one of the largest 50 cities in the nation, also urges Trump to adhere to Tucson's mask mandate and follow social distancing requirements to help stem the spread of the COVID-19. Few masks and packed crowds are the hallmark of a Trump rally. In the letter she sent on Friday, which called on Trump to ensure that our local ordinances are respected and followed during your event, it would be deeply unfortunate if one gathering jeopardizes all of the progress we have made thus far in limiting the spread of the disease. She added, as an elected official, we have both the opportunity and the responsibility to set an example for our constituents, especially when it comes to protecting public health. There is also not so little matter of $80,000 the Trump campaign still owes the city from a 2016 rally. Romero noted that in addition, the estimated cost to the public safety response services for Monday's rally will cost $50,000. The Trump campaign owes 14 cities across the nation a sum total of about $1.82 million. in unpaid bills for mega rallies stretching back to 2016, according to a report early this year from the nonprofit news organization Center for Public Integrity and NBC. Local officials have complained that the Trump campaign's unpaid bills are an especially difficult burden now that they're grappling with the extra cost of battling COVID-19, as well as aiding residents suffering financially hardships due to the pandemic. A mail-in ballot drop-off box in California was damaged by fire in an incident that's being investigated as arson, officials say. Firefighters responded to a report of a ballot box fire outside of the Baldwin Park Library around 8 p.m. on Sunday. According to a representative for the Los Angeles County Fire Department, units on the scene reported that there was burning inside the ballot box. It wasn't immediately clear how many ballots may have been damaged in the fire or what their conditions were. Baldwin Park Police Commander Chris Hawford told BuzzFeed News that the department was sealed. It isn't immediately clear how many ballots may have been damaged in the fire or what condition they were in. The Baldwin Park Police Commander told BuzzFeed News that the department had sealed the ballots in a box to be retrieved by the election officials. The fire is still under investigation by the county's fire investigators. The Los Angeles County Registrar's Office had also reported the incident to the FBI and the State Attorney General's office. Tampering with the vote by mail drop box and ballot is serious criminal offense, and we will vigorously seek the prosecution of individuals who engage in such behavior. Election officials are currently reviewing the material recovered from the box and will notify voters whose ballots may have been affected. The registrar's office said that the county staff last picked up the ballots at the location around 10:10 a.m. on Saturday. About 34 hours later, the fire was reported. As a result of the incident, election officials are now increasing a frequency of ballot box pickups at all drop-off locations. The arson of an official ballot box drop-off in Baldwin Park in the 1st District has all signs of an attempt to disenfranchise voters and call on to question the security of our election. LA County's Superior said in a statement, tampering or attempting to tamper with our democracy will not be tolerated. The incident comes days after California's Republican Party came under scrutiny for setting up unofficial ballot boxes for November 3rd's election. A lawyer for the party said in a letter Thursday it planned on continuing collecting ballots despite a cease and desist order by the California Attorney General. More than 3.7 million mail-in ballots have been returned to the election officials across the state as of Monday, the Secretary of State said. Voters can track the status of their mail-in ballots online at whereismyballot.sos.ca.gov. And once again, thank you for watching CCN Midday News. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification